Well, hello, everyone. It is Prince Michael, and welcome back to the chat. I am pretty sure that you all know and love this beautiful young lady that is to my left. We
Yeah.
have the Raelia Lewis. Yes, that one. Yes, Miss America's Next Top Model herself. Yes, Miss Shop Accessorized herself. Yes, Miss Wave Swim herself. Yes, Miss Author herself.
Thank
We
you.
have her here on today. And I am so honored that she even said that she would even do this interview. And
Absolutely.
y'all have no idea. Y'all have like no idea. Like when she responded and told me, yeah, let's do it. I was like, so, but she don't know, honey. I actually was like, I was like screaming all in the background. I called my mama. I was calling everybody. I'm like, oh my God, do y'all know that really said that she was going to? So my mom was just like, I know when this airs, my mom is going to be like, oh my gosh, like, Sharks, I know her. Mind you, my mom doesn't. She's never met my mom before. She don't even know my mom's name. But my mom, in her head, she know this girl. This is one of her children. Anyway, Raelia, welcome to the chat, and thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining us. How are you
Thank you
doing,
for the
honey?
introduction. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, how you doing today, honey?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. How about yourself?
I'm doing fabulous, honey. I'm doing fabulous. We had a few things going on. Y'all know by day, I work as a sky angel, and we were supposed to have already recorded this, but now we're just doing it, y'all. So, anyway, but we're going to go ahead and just jump right into it because I know that this young lady's time, honey, time is money and money is time. So, I have already wasted 20 minutes of her time by not being here on time. So, I want to make sure that I can go ahead and just jump right into the interview. So, I guess, like, for starters, how in the world did you get started? Because when I think of modeling, your name now becomes synonymous with modeling. I mean, you
Yeah.
do so many other things, but everyone recognizes you as first as being a model. So how exactly did that start for you?
So I wanted to model for as long as I can remember. Like Tyra Banks was my idol growing up. So in my like early teens, I got scouted by a local agency. I'm from Philly. A
Okay.
local agency scouted me in like a copy and place. They were right upstairs. So I started modeling with them a little bit. And it was more like local urban market stuff where I was doing like fashion shows, hair shows, things of that nature. And I decided like after a year working with them that I really wanted to try to make it big and like go professional. So I utilized like Google, Yellow Pages, and I was really just trying to get placed in New York City. And I started writing agencies, emailing them, sending them my pictures through the mail, and I wasn't getting anything back. I was trying everything. I started shooting with local photographers, trying to recreate images I saw in magazines and on TV, just trying to find my space. And I really still didn't have any luck. So I started trying out for Top Model around like 18. I got pretty far the first time. I made it to the New York auditions and I actually got a contract, and then I never heard anything back. So I started trying out again. I just kept trying. I did it again at 19. Didn't hear anything back. I didn't even make it to another round that time. Literally told me no. So I was still doing like local photo shoots, still trying to network and like really play up like the Philly scene. So like trying to find my way, trying to build a team, trying to collaborate as much as possible. Still wasn't really making money, but like I was trying. Eventually I got on Model Mayhem, and that's where I actually booked like my first professional job. Model Mayhem is still around. It's like, yes, it's like a website where like freelance models can go and book jobs. It's probably a little sketch, like it may be some pervs on there, y'all. I'm gonna be honest. But I got like my first lookbook. I got paid. I went with a friend to the job, and it was really fun. It was cool. I tried out for top model again at 20. I got nothing. Tried out again at 21. No, I tried out for the face at 21, Naomi Campbell show. And
Okay.
another girl from Philly made that. I didn't make that. So I was like really discouraged. I went and got like a regular job. I was a server. I kept shooting. I didn't stop shooting. And I kept utilizing like Instagram and Facebook, really like uploading my images. And like I was always coming up with like different styles and different vibes and working with like local stylists and local makeup artists. I was doing free shit for exposure. Like I was doing everything. I had no discernment. And then at 22, people who saw me like just consistently modeling throughout the years, they thought about me when Top Model was casting again. And this time, this season, which is cycle 21, they were utilizing like Instagram. So a girl I went to high school with was like, hey, tag me in a post. You should really check this out. They were looking for girls and guys this season. And because I had got like what I consider to be burnt like 3 times in a row, and then the face made 4 times, I really didn't think that I had like good a good chance at making it. I just was like, I mean, I might as well just send in some pictures and just see what happens. And that's exactly what I did. Sent in some pictures, got a call like a week later, and I did fast forward. I skipped the part. Before I actually sent in the pictures, I had went to LA with these girls I met in New York. Because while I was like doing stuff on a local level, I also was like going to open calls in New York City to try to get signed by an agency, and everyone was turning me down. So I met these girls in like the lobby of an agency. They were really cool. They were from Bmore, Baltimore, Maryland. And we decided to save up our money and go to LA and try to get signed out there. So that's exactly what we did. We go to LA. We stayed at like the Hollywood Hotel. We stayed for like 5-6 days, got into a car accident, set up like 6 different photo shoots. We partied, made every club we could make. We got a lot done. We went to every single agency and we all got turned down. But we did like a lot of photo shoots there with a lot of local photographers. So after that, I was discouraged, but I was like, I'm just going to keep trying. And that's when maybe like a week after that, I got tagged in the Instagram post about top model casting for the 21st cycle. So I sent in photos, and then my casting guy, his name was Gene. Gene got to me. We talked via Skype. We started to email. He liked my personality. And then it just started from there. You know, we went into talking and figuring out more about myself. I sent them all my pictures, and then they let me know that they would not be doing like the, you know how they normally go around from city to city and state to state and have auditions. They let me know that their cycle, they would not be doing that. There will be no tour, so that I would have to fly myself to LA for the one big audition and see if I can make it. And Gene let me know that he really liked me. He thought I had a great chance, and that if I didn't go, I would still be considered, but it would be better if I actually showed up to the audition.
Correct. Yeah.
I didn't have the money because I just came from LA like maybe a few weeks ago with these girls, and nothing happened for me. So I picked up some extra shifts at work, flew out there. I just took a risk. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to try. And when I tell you that everything that could have went wrong, everything that could have went wrong. I get there. The hotel charges me twice for my room. They take every bit of money I have. I'm in a hotel lobby. This is before Uber, I believe. So I have like no way of getting around. I'm popped. I have no money. I have nothing to eat with. I don't know anybody out there. And I have an audition in the morning for America's Next Top Model. And they're expecting me. So I remember just being in the lobby and like telling the lady, the clerk, like what they just did and like how they were like ruining my life. And it brought me to tears because she was like, there's really nothing I can do. You just have to wait like 4 to 5 business days for your money. And I'm like, ma'am,
I ain't got 4 to 5 business days.
The audition tomorrow, and that's my cab money, my food money, my everything money. So I just sat there in the lobby and I just started crying. And then the manager came out and just gave me the money in cash. He was like, just when the money comes back, we'll reverse it. Do not spend it. Here you go. And I just felt like that was God. I'm like, thank you, guys. So I get to the audition, and I remember walking in the audition. I'm like, bitch, you better know this. You better go in there and show them who the fuck you are.
Come on.
I'm like, this is your chance. Like, you're finally getting here. Like, do not fuck this up. And I get in there, and I gave it my everything. And I remember I just went back to my hotel, and I was nervous, but I felt like I tried my best. I went back home. I went back to my job. I didn't really tell too many people because I didn't want to get people excited, and like it didn't make it. It didn't work out. And then I got a call probably like a few months later saying that I was actually chosen for actual like casting week, which is like the 3 weeks up until you start filming.
Okay.
And then everything went wrong again.
So casting week, full effect.
It's like when everything good happens in life. No, when everything bad happens in life, something good is about to happen. And I saw that quote around that time on Facebook, and I have just coined that quote as the motto that keeps me going even today. So when I got accepted for casting week, of course, they had to do a background check. They had to make sure that I wouldn't be a liability, that I didn't have a violent or criminal past, all of that great stuff, right? I didn't. I had never been arrested. Even to this day, I've never been arrested. So I'm like, yeah, you can check my background. It's clean. Now, my sister had a bar fight probably 3 years prior. She was an adult. I wasn't. And she used my name to like get arrested. I was her alias. We look nothing alike. She's 5'7". She's dark skinned. She's heavy set. I am like 6'1". I'm lighter than her. I'm skinny. Either way, they locked her up under my name, my birth date, my address. She didn't even live with my mom at the time, and she was able to do that. Now, she didn't think that this would interfere with me making it on the show. No one thought that. I didn't think that. She told me that she didn't even use my proper spelling. She said she used Raelia, R-O-E. When Top Model looked up and checked my background, it was my real name, Raelia, my birthday, everything. So now they're like, you're basically a liar. Like, you are violent. You were in a bar fight. Like, there's like actual arrest records. There's documentation. Like, this is a court case. Like, you have co-defendants. And I'm telling them, like, that was not me. But I didn't want to sell my sister down the river. So I was in a really tight spot. Do I tell on my sister and possibly make things look worse for her? Or do I just bite the bullet and possibly miss out on this opportunity? And I remember being at work. I was a server, and I just went in the bathroom. I just cried. I'm like, this cannot be happening. Like, this is finally my chance. I'm finally making my dreams come true. And now something that I didn't even do is probably going to block me from getting this. So me and my family are trying to figure out, like, what to do, right? I was trying to get fingerprinted. I'm like, I can get fingerprinted and prove to you guys that it's not me. Can you pull up the mugshot? The producers let me know they didn't have access to fingerprints or the mugshot. They just had the arrest record. So I'm like, I don't know these girls. I don't know. This was not me. They're like, you follow these girls on Facebook. So I'm like, okay, this is my sister and her friends. They got in a fight. It was not me. I don't hang with these girls that are way older than me. My sister wound up writing a letter. And then they eventually decided to just take a chance on me. And let me come. So I get to LA and they take my phone immediately. They're like, call your mom, let her know you made it here. You won't see your phone for a few months if you make the show. When you get in the van, don't look at anybody. If you look at anybody, if you talk to anybody, you're done. I get in the van with all these girls. Can't look at anybody. And we're told to look forward. We get to the hotel. We're quarantined. We're put in our hotel rooms by ourselves. We have no phones, no internet. We can't leave the room by any means. We can only eat when we're told to eat. And then we went into like psych evaluations to make sure we could withstand the process. They drew blood. They checked for STDs. They gave us shots.
This is the part of the process that we have no idea, that we never knew about.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I had probably like 2 to 3 psych evaluations, talked to like 3 different therapists. They asked me questions, figure out my personality, figure out how I thought. We took written exams, like basic math and English, personality exams. It was like a 3-week process of us just like being quarantined, being alone, and then being like pushed into these environments that were like new, that were different, and that really didn't make sense. But I was just so laser focused on getting on the show that I just kind of like detached from everything and just focused on like the ultimate goal. So after about the 3-week mark, we were able to finally get mic'd up and talk to each other, but of course on camera. But up until that point, we were literally in our hotel room for like 12 hours a day or more. Like, it felt almost like jail just in the hotel room. Like I said, we couldn't eat, we couldn't do anything but wait for them to call our room and say be ready to leave and do something else, whether it was a test, an interview, or something of that nature. And then when the mics went on, when the cameras went on, that's when everyone started to try to play themselves up and just try to really like make the house. So that's what you guys got to see right before we went to the bowling alley. Those things before that was just us trying to like figure each other out and just really see if we can make the show. And then when we made the show, when I made the show, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, like it was like an out of body experience. But then I was like, but damn, now I gotta fucking win. Like it was like I finally understood. Like, okay, I made the show, but now I have to win. I lost 20 pounds filming that show. It was so much pressure. I'm not good with surprises. I really didn't understand the workload or the pressure that came with like being on a reality TV show and being in a competition of that magnitude. It was a lot of moments behind the scenes where I felt like they would do things to break us. And then they would turn the cameras on and you would see like our raw reactions. And sometimes what you guys saw didn't really align with what just happened. So you guys were like, what's she's crying about her hair for? It's just hair.
Yes.
You didn't see what her said to me. You didn't see how they made me feel or what went wrong. You're just seeing this one moment, this one edited, controlled moment. So there were a lot of moments that happened, like off scenes, that kind of just frightened us or just impacted the way we showed up on camera. It was a really like tough and stressful experience. So due to that, I wasn't like eating. I was like binge eating, where I would like not eat all day and then go home and just eat all the stuff at night. So that was the reason why I lost weight. And it was just tough. It was a lot of pressure. It would be times where I would be on set shooting and Tyra would be like, you're doing so great, you're killing it. And then I would get to like elimination and she'd be like, you really struggled this week. Do you want to be here? Yeah. It was
You
crazy.
did that a little too well, honey.
I mean, got shell shocked. It
Oh
was
my gosh. Well,
crazy.
because I know that I saw that it seems like during that time, like you really like you and Will like kind of hit it off as
Yes.
well. Like, are you guys still friends now?
I mean, not like we should be. Like, we don't talk really at all, but like, he definitely invited me to his wedding. I wasn't able to make it, so I sent the gift.
Hmm.
But like, outside of like that, like, we don't really talk. But we did live together for a year after the
Hmm.
show. We
Hmm.
moved to LA together. I moved with him, Kari, Lennox. I think that was it. And like a friend
Okay.
from Philly. And we moved into like this huge house in like North Hollywood. And we tried to go out there and like really pursue modeling and different endeavors. And there will always be like love there because we had an amazing and a monumental experience together.
Right.
He still is an amazing person. I just think that life kind of like took us in different directions, because after I left LA, the year after Top Model, I left LA and I went to Africa
Yes.
and then Miami. So we kind of like, no, I went to Miami, then Africa. So we kind of like lost touch, like in the midst of me, like trying to find my footing and
Hmm.
just trying to figure my life out. Because when I went to LA, I couldn't get signed. Like no one was picking me up. And it was really discouraging because all the other people like got signed. So when you do a show like Top Model, the agency that is assigned to like give the winner, a contract is able to sign whoever else they want from the show. So like Carvey got a contract, Lennox got a contract, I believe Will got a contract. They didn't want to sign me. And of course that plays on your mental. I was really discouraged. But I kept pushing. I had meetings set up. I went and saw like LA models and different agencies. And after a year, like I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna have to leave and figure out another market. And I got signed. I flew to LA. I got signed. I did Swim Week, and then I got signed to Africa, and I went there. And I decided to just move back home to the East Coast and try to get placed in New York because LA just wasn't working. And so after that move, me and him kind of like lost contact.
Okay. Why do you think that during that time, like nobody actually signed you? Like, did they give you any feedback, or it was just, oh no, we don't want you?
No feedback. I think it was because I was black. I'm gonna just keep it all the way G because like
I think I was going to ask, do you think that that had anything to do
yeah,
with it?
because Carver was like ambiguous. She's like the biracial girl, right?
Sure. 'Cause she's very fair. She was very fair.
Very fair, blue eyes, freckles, curly,
Hmm.
springy, beautiful hair. I'm the girl from Philly. I'm feisty. I talk with a little twang. I'm
Hmm.
busty. I'm a black girl. I'm not somebody who's ambiguous. You're not going to ever say, "Oh, is she biracial?" No, you're going to know I'm a black girl. And I felt
But
like
you
I
know
had
what?
to say that again.
I, I said, you know what? But honestly, like all of what you just named, I would think that that would still qualify you, especially like with your build, because I've studied a lot of your photos
Mm-hmm.
and you have an amazing body of work, by the
Thank
way. I mean,
you.
amazing body of work.
Thank you.
And I would think that you're most welcome. I would think that, especially when it deals with like swimwear. I
Mm-hmm.
would think that like anyone that has anything that has to deal with swimwear, they're like, we want her
I
because
was
you
thinking
have
that
the
too.
body that people want.
I was thinking that too, and I went out there really confident, and it broke my dreams, like it broke my spirits, like. And after that, me being me, I persevere. I'm resilient, so I go to Miami, another swim state, and or city, and I get there, and they're like, four is like, oh, we already have our ethnic girl. So now it's like, oh, it's about tokenism. I'm being marginalized. It's
Wow.
not that they don't think I'm good. It's like they have their one black girl.
Mm-hmm.
So they would see my book, they would see my body, and they'll be like, okay. And they'll ask me what I've done, and I'll tell them. And I never really used Top Model because I met girls at other auditions, like Bree and other girls, other contestants. They probably don't even remember this, but I would meet them, and they would be like, never used the show. Never say you did a show because it can cost you opportunities in modeling. So after getting that advice, I would
Wow.
never use the show. I would just use like me, and then I'm a model, and I would use like my pictures and what I've done. And they would be like, they would talk to me, and I could see the interest, and then they would be like, but we're good. Like we have our ethnic girl, we have our girl. And I ran into that issue in Philly. I ran into that issue in Miami, LA. I could only assume that they didn't say it, but I see myself. I
Yeah.
know what I can do.
Yeah.
And then Miami was still tough because even after getting the contract, my whole agency was not on board. There was one booker, her name was Hilga, who really fought for me, who really took a shot on me. But she took a shot on me and she let me know that the other people on the agency wasn't really like sold. So that was really discouraging too. So they didn't like put me on like the main board, the main page. They didn't even like really like showcase me on the website at all. So I went, when I got to Swim Week and I started auditioning for Swim Week, I started crashing like the big auditions in hopes to like prove myself and to prove that like I can book. And I wound up booking like the biggest show that I crashed, was Mara Hoffman. And she looked at me and she was like, "What's your sign?" I'm like, "Aries." She was like, "Me too." She's like, "Great body." And she winked at me. And I was like, I think she liked me. And I wound up booking that show. And I booked a few other shows. So like that was encouraging, but it still was tough because I just really didn't feel like they respected me or really like saw my light. So of course that agency didn't really work out, but I met girls. I asked for advice. Like there were so many girls from prior seasons, like Amina and Stacey Ann, who were like really like helpful. I don't know if you know who they were, but they did earlier cycles of America's Next Top Model. And they were just like helpful and like took me under their wing. So when I got signed in South Africa, I wasn't really like searching for that, but I had just talked to Stacey Ann and she was like, "Oh, I always go to Africa. You should try Africa." And then my agent calls me, like it was like my mother agent. And he's like, "Agency in South Africa wants to sign you." So I was like, "Oh my God, I was just talking about that." So we set all that up. I decided to go to South Africa. I go with another contestant, Amina. She's there already. She's like well seasoned out there. So she took me under her wing. But that was still tough. I booked some stuff, but it was still really tough. It was a really expensive trip. I stayed out there for 3 months. I came back home and I set my sights on New York. I knew I didn't want to go back to Miami. LA was not an option. I damn sure wasn't going to live in Africa and be chasing that. So I was like, I'm going to try New York. And that's how I just decided to really like set up shop on the East Coast. And that's how I got to where I am today.
I love it. Honey, I'm here for it. I am here for it because all of those people that decided that, oh no, we already have somebody, we already have her, pretty much. Look at where you are now and look at all that you have accomplished. I mean, you've done a makeup campaign, you've done Bare Minerals. I mean, you've done Pepsi. I told you, girl, honey, when I tell you I've studied your career, I told you, honey, I've studied your career, okay? Because you're one of my favorites. And so, with that being said, once you got off the show and you started modeling again, I know that during the pandemic, there were a lot of things that you got going when a lot of people actually took a loss because during that time, it was very difficult because most people were not able to really do shows because you had to social distance. So tell us more about what you did during that time, because I understand that you actually created an accessories company during that time.
So the accessory company actually started in 2017. I started with my brother originally, right? But
Okay.
it just wasn't vibing. It just wasn't right. I was just really like focused on modeling and I really couldn't give it the attention it needed. So in 2019, I was like, I need to do more than just modeling because at that time I was doing really well in modeling. I mean, like constantly booked, constantly in New York, but I still just wanted more. So I relaunched it without my brother. We talked about it. He wasn't really into it. So I did it on my own. I started small. And then when the pandemic happened, I just kept going. I had more time to really sit with myself, decide the direction I wanted to go in. I learned how to build websites and I really just learned how to like build a company that looked like it was functioning and that it was successful. And I also launched a swimsuit line during the pandemic called Waves Swim. That was the idea that I had since I did the show. So when I did Top Model, Drea Michelle was on Basketball Wives and I saw her start Men's Swim. And I always wanted to go into like designing. I always loved swimsuits, right? So I decided to try to start a swimsuit line back then. I had met like the seamstress. We sat down, we designed, and I really couldn't afford like the entire project. Like it's really expensive to design a swimsuit line. And at that time I didn't have the money. I was moving to LA, so I just kind of put it on the wayside. But in 2017, I had a dream. And in the dream, I saw like waves. I saw the logo, just how it looks. So I had got an LLC in 2017, Waves LLC. And the person who did the LLC was really confused by the name. He was like, I'm sure someone else already has his name. Like, why that name? And I'm like, I saw it in a dream. It just feels right. I'm just going to go with it. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, what are you waiting for? You have all this free time. Make the best out of this free time. Just do it. And that's exactly what I did. I got the logo done. I already had the LLC. I started the trademarking process. I started buying and I decided that I wasn't going to design and that I would just start to buy and curate like an awesome line. Everyone thinks I design. I do not design. And I decided to learn photography and to learn how to market. And because I was a model first, I would watch how brands would use me to market and sell their products. So I did a job with Saks Fifth, and they had me wear like accessories, like gorgeous rings and gorgeous watches. And I was just studying like the photographer and how he shot me. And I went to the website and I noticed that these items were already shot before. So I'm like, oh, so what they're doing is they're shooting them on different skin tones, on different people to make them look new, to get them to appeal to a different demographic of people. So when I noticed that, I began to realize that I could do that with my swimsuits. Now I could do that with my accessories. So I was just taking the skills I was learning on sets. Like I had booked this jewelry job one time. It was like a part smiling job because I do part smiling as well. And I booked it through Instagram. Gorgeous accessories. And I get there and they're like, I'm watching how they're shooting me. It's a female photographer. She's shooting me with like construction paper and on cardboard. And she's like positioning the jewelry in a certain way and light in a certain way. And I'm asking questions and taking pictures of like the equipment she's using. And I'm just figuring out like how to do it so that I don't need anybody and so that I don't have to spend a bunch of money trying to figure this shit out. So I just was like silently observing like the photographers on sets. And like when I did Kiss products, I realized that I wasn't actually on set with the owners and the creators of Kiss, but there were these two guys who started this company where they are like content creators for brands like MAC Cosmetics and Kiss. So what these companies do is that they send these two guys products, and money, and these two guys find models and they shoot for these companies. And I'm like, that's brilliant. So watching how they did it, it really inspired me to do it my way and do my own thing. And then because of how hard it was for me to really make it in modeling, how I felt like I always had to work harder and pioneer new spaces and beat down doors, I just felt like, let me just do everything that I need to do to get this ship rolling. And then when it makes sense, I'll start to allocate and delegate and, expand. But I just really didn't want to sit back and wait for somebody to come save me or teach me something. I learned a long time ago that no one was coming. Even with all the talent and the beauty and the great body, no one was coming. So it was just my way of just taking ownership and control over my life. And that's what I birthed. I birthed these two amazing businesses that keep me busy, that are fulfilling. And I'm just having a great time just, running my own show. Is it difficult at times? Yes. Do I get discouraged sometimes? Yes. But when I see people tag me in my items that I don't even know, when I get wholesale orders and they're like for like Paris, France, like it's just like, okay, you're on the right track. Like just keep going, and
I love it.
That's all I know how to do is keep going.
I love it. I love it, honey. Let me tell you something. I was watching this interview. Have you ever seen the show All American?
I did not, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay. So one of the main characters in the show, his name is Preach, he's portrayed by Kareem Grimes. And one of the things that I noticed is I was watching this interview with Kareem Grimes, and you triggered it when you said it. He said his very first film was Boys in the Hood with John Singleton. And he said he was on the set of Boys in the Hood, and they gave him some lines, and he was like, from there, the bug just bit him. The acting bug got him. Fast forward, he's on the set of Baby Boy, and he said they told him, no, what are you doing? No, you're done with your lines. Yeah, I understand that. But go and learn everything and everyone else's job that's here. Because you want to make sure that you understand what goes on in front of the camera, but also behind the camera. And what you just said, I believe, is very important, especially for people that are out there that are trying to get their careers going. You have to understand every aspect of the business that you're in. So I guess my next question would be, because I know that I have a friend of mine, she's a professional model as well. It's two different types of modeling, though, because she does full figure modeling. Okay. And it's interesting because listening to what you're saying, I'm like, I don't think that this girl should ever be declined from doing anything. Because looking at you and then you see your personality, because what I think is very interesting, even the character, and it's very interesting because I've met a lot of people, especially the person that I was dating prior. So I've gotten an opportunity to meet a lot of people, but everyone is not the same. Like your character, from what I'm seeing in front of me, versus what I saw on TV were like one and the same. It was like you were true to yourself. You didn't try and portray yourself as being someone else that you knew that you weren't. Right. But I guess my next question for you would be, For a person that's just starting out or they're trying to start their career, because I know one of my niece sees this. I was telling you about my niece prior. I know. So, what would you say to the person that's just starting their career? Like, what would be the biggest advice that you have for that person? But then also on the flip side, what would you say is the one thing that you should make sure that you focus on as well, like your biggest disappointment?
Well, I always speak to Black girls differently than I speak to anybody else because I know
Really?
they have a very different approach in modeling. And as much
Hmm.
as I want Black girls to think that they're beautiful and that they're special, I want them to know what they're up against because we're not on the even playing field. So a white model's experience and a black model or a biracial model or ambiguous model's experience is very different. It's really like a loaded thing. And then like my experience and another Black girl's experience could be totally different. So there's like no one size fits all. So I try to give general advice, but I also try to tell Black girls to like take ownership. Do not wait for anybody to save them. Do not expect your agency to necessarily rally around you or take a liking to you. Like show up, prove to them that you are profitable. I've had to
Hmm.
do that over and over again, even after booking the big jobs. And I think it's important for Black girls to know that because you had this idea that modeling should be this kind of like incline, especially when you're pretty and
Hmm.
everyone tells you you should model and you get a few compliments, you start to think that you're going to get scouted and that you're going to be the next Tyra and it's going to just be this amazing thing. And then you get into this industry and you realize that, oh, I got to work my ass off. Oh, it's not that easy. Oh, there's not enough space for all of us. So my general advice would be to first, I always tell girls to, and I speak to women more than I speak to anybody else because I feel like modeling as a woman is different than modeling as a man.
Yeah.
Um, so as a female model, I tell models to first study. And what I mean by study is find a girl on a modeling agency's website that you can identify with. Look at her portfolio, see what she's doing. And I think that's a very important step because a lot of times models model incorrectly. They do too much makeup, eyelashes, overly posed, too much clothes. Like less is really more, right? A lot of times models get confused when they look at like Instagram and they look at magazine covers. You're looking at models who are doing content creation or you're looking at like models who are booking actual jobs. So of course if I book a makeup campaign, I'll be probably a lot more glam than I will be if I was shooting my portfolio, where you need to be a little more like Girl Next Door or a little more toned down. If you go to my portfolio, you'll see an array of different looks, but I'm seasoned. I've been doing it for a while. But if you're just starting out, you want to keep it really like clean, not a lot of makeup. You want bushy brows. You want to make sure that you have different locations in your book, are like on the beach, on location outdoors. You want to make sure that whatever market you are in, your book matches that market. So if you're in like a sunny state, you probably want a lot more like swimsuit shots, location shots. If you're in New York, more fashion, more studio shots. So you have to study so that you can know these things. You need to know how to look, what to do with your face, how to be diverse and versatile. If you're a Black model, I want you to learn everything you need to know to get ahead. Because even if you have a really good season, at any moment the phone can stop. At any moment the energy can say, we want a different kind of Black girl. And they real big on being progressive, but still treating us like tokens. So with understanding that, you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all of your prospects and you're not just waiting for someone to say, oh, you today. You want to make sure that you're taking up space, that you're using your social media to market you, that you are signed in more than one market, that you can create your own content, that you have your own equipment, that you are doing something outside of modeling. I recommend some form of entrepreneurship. I'm not saying, I think that if you're creative, you're an entrepreneur. So I don't think that entrepreneurship is for everyone. I don't think that you should go into like an e-commerce based business, but you should
Hmm.
be figuring out how to make money, even if it's just investing, even if it's real estate. You want to make sure that you can make money even when you're not on the set, because you
That's
get to a
true.
point in life where you want to work smarter and not just harder. And modeling is a tough business. It's stressful. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of rejection. So when you're being rejected, you still have money coming in and you're not sitting around like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So Black girls, like, learn how to work a camera, like learn how to shoot, learn how to cast, learn how to be yourself and be unafraid to show up as yourself, and learn how to just take rejection and keep on moving. But I just don't think it's smart for Black models to just think that their experience will be like this incline, or that because they're pretty, like it'll always be like that because there's so many beautiful models and people will tell you no. And sometimes it's not even personal. So you have to do more than just model. You have to do more than just be talent. I got that from Master P. I love when he said it. Be more than just talent. I think that's so important. So I always try to tell models to like go into ownership, you know, own something, you know, do more. Modeling can be the catalyst. It can be the root. It can be your baby. But you are more than that. And I call myself a modelpreneur. I don't try to limit myself to just being a model because I don't think that's smart. You know, so definitely like study. After you book a solid portfolio, like, and I believe that you should actually hire photographers to shoot your book too. Like, I'm not a fan of like always trying to collab and trying to test because you'll waste a lot of time and you'll get a lot of bad pictures that you can't even really use. So you want to shoot with intention. You want to look for the photographers who are shooting the girls you want to be like, who are shooting the brands you want to work with. You want to hire those photographers to shoot your portfolio so that when you walk into these rooms, you look the part because your book is going to sell you. Some girls get scouted because they're walking in the street. That's not everybody's story. So if no one's scouting you, if people are telling you no, go build a solid portfolio and then try again. You know, go on the model agency's Instagram, email them your pictures. They always are looking for fresh faces, new talent. You know, just keep trying and don't focus only on big agencies. Reach out to boutique agencies because I don't have a big agency in New York, but I was working a ton with that agency. I booked Bare Mineral and Pepsi and all these great companies with that agency, Saks Fifth, all of that stuff. So it's just like, don't always get caught up in like a name or an idea. Like there's more than one way to hit a target. So be open to your dreams working out maybe in a way that you didn't even know they could, and just keep showing up for yourself every single day.
I love that, honey. Yes, God, baby. Yes, God. Honey, just put in the work and then the how-tos will come later.
Yes, just get started. Prepare
I'm digging it,
yourself.
honey. I'm digging it. So let me ask, so how do you deal with rejection? Because in your industry, rejection seems like it happens a lot, especially like for people of color, but just in general. So how do you deal with rejection and making sure that you maintain a positive body image and a positive mindset from that?
Well, I actually did lose myself in a rejection, like just to be candid and to be honest, right? So
Hmm.
in the beginning, when I was younger, I was a lot more fearless. I felt like I had so much more time. I'll figure it out. You know, as I started to get older, and I'm like, yo, I'm 26. I didn't get signed to New York till I was 27. Right, but modeling is a very surface, ageist business,
True,
you
true,
know. So I'm
true.
thinking about like, oh, I'm 26 and I don't have an agency in New York yet, and I did top model at 22, and I did Africa already, and I did Miami, and I did LA. So it was like I was starting to get really discouraged, you know. But I just kept trying. I just kept figuring it out. I just kept pushing myself. But I went through all the emotions. I wanted to quit. I cried. I really didn't deal with depression until probably like during the pandemic, really. But I went through all the emotions. I just kept pushing forward. The one client that I really felt like really kind of broke me and kind of got me to a place where I started to fall into depression was CoverGirl. So
Hmm.
CoverGirl started to request me and put me on hold. So in modeling, when you're put on hold, that means that they want to book you and they'll confirm you, but they may have someone else in mind or they may not really know the shoot date yet. So you consider a hold. It's a huge deal. So CoverGirl put me on hold, and I'm like, oh my God, this is huge. This is major. Then they cancel. Okay. They did it like 8 more times over the span of a year. Every month they would put me on hold. I would see them shooting like my friends, other girls I knew, and they just kept canceling me. So it started to play on my mental. It started to make me discouraged. And then when the pandemic happened and I had to sit in that, and then like I was just like really worried about, okay, I'm turning 30. Did I make the right decisions in life? Is this really going to work out? Like, what is my life going to look like after the pandemic? You know,
Yeah.
so I had to really like figure out how to maneuver and how to get mentally healthy again. My anxiety got really, really bad. I had to get in therapy. I started to feel like I was a failure. It's so important to, when you talk to yourself, your self-talk needs to be really kind and really positive because you
Hmm.
hear your voice the most. But I wasn't aware of that. I was just so emotional that I really wasn't thinking like logically all the time. So I was just like doing like a lot of like um, self-destruction, just talking to myself negatively, telling myself everything was falling apart. And I really got to a place where like I thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown, you know, and it really got bad. This was in the midst of like me running my businesses and all that. And I really had to like sit with myself. I took a break from modeling, and I'm like, I had to just really like fill myself back up and get back to me, like find home again. Started doing yoga, started meditating, doing affirmations, started doing things that scared me, things that gave me anxiety. And I just started to kind of like lean into the anxiety and like fight through it. And through that, I was able to kind of just keep coming out ahead and coming out and getting better and better and better. And I'm still in that journey, in that process. But this is a really tough business, and you can lose yourself in the chase, you know. And it's important that when you see yourself declining, that you stop yourself and that you start to figure out how to get back home again, like how to become your best self again, because you can get through anything and you can get better. But I think it's important to share that because people see me and they're like, oh, she had it all figured out, or oh, she did these great jobs. Even with all those great jobs, I still felt like I wasn't doing enough. You know what I'm saying? I still felt like I was failing. And my therapist even was like, I need you to like figure out what failure really means, because you're not that. Like reevaluate what you think that is. You know, so I had to just start talking to myself kindly. And I had to like reprogram the way I saw the world and the way I felt about myself, because after doing all these things, I still felt like I was those things. So it was about detaching myself from like material shit and not putting my value in like performance or in being validated by other people or in modeling. Like I'm more than that. Like my purpose is so much more than just being able to take a pretty picture. And when I started to stretch my mind and see it differently, I was able to like, you know, really gain some momentum and gain some strides. You know, healing is a journey. Healing is something that I work towards every day. But I'm in a much better space because I don't really see myself as just a model. And even I had like an aha moment earlier today where I was like in my closet, and I was like, why don't you just be grateful for all the great things God already gave you? Like you were able to live the majority of your 20s traveling the world, pursuing an amazing career that you've always dreamed about since you were a little girl. That's amazing. And being able to see it that way versus being like, I'm not where I want to be, it gave me my power back, you know? So it's always mind over matter. It's always mind over matter. And I just kind of continue to just talk to myself in a positive way and really like be grateful for all the amazing things that God has blessed me with.
Yes, honey. You better say that. You know, I
Yeah.
had a mentor back in the day, honey. He said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change.
Yes.
And I always like kept that in my mind because sometimes you can think that it can be the worst situation in the entire world, but that one thing that you're going through is literally getting ready to catapult you to
Yes.
your next
Period.
level. You know,
Yeah.
I remember in 2015 when I went from being homeless, I was homeless at that time because I got injured at a job that I was working, and I sustained a lifetime injury to my lumbar, and the company that I was working for wrote my workers' comp claim up in such a way to the point where I was not able to draw workers' comp. That turned into a lawsuit. And I was like, here I am, college educated, got accepted into Johns Hopkins. So people on paper say I'm smart, but I'm like, child, I hate school. And, you know, it was interesting because I started to see the world very negatively
Mm-hmm.
because here I am. I'm like, I've done everything that was required of me, and here I am still in the same spot. Like I still landed up here. So I completely understand that. As we get ready to start coming to a close, because I didn't realize that the time was going about that fast. I'm like, oh my God, I
It's
can sit here and talk to
okay.
you forever, girl.
I am at your
Um,
disposal. It's okay.
so I wanted to ask, well, I know that you just started your coaching program.
Yes.
Modeling is a business.
Yes.
And I wanted to just touch on that just a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit more, go a little bit more in details about that modeling as a business? Because I don't know what that is, girl. I do, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
pretend like I don't know. I don't know what that is.
So it's called Making Modeling a Business, right? And
Mm-hmm,
I have always wanted to do like a modeling seminar. So after the show, I would get booked to like host these modeling seminars and teach models. But I was really fearful of doing it myself. So a
mm-hmm,
branding coach contacted me probably about 7 months ago and was really
mm-hmm,
pushing me to go into like digital marketing, digital products. And I was like, I really want to do like a model course. So he kind of encouraged me to do that. He didn't really tell me how to do it. But he was like, you should do it. So basically what I came up with is that because so many models hit me up and they want to know how to get started. They want to know what to do, where to go. They want my time. I cannot respond to everyone's DM. I cannot help everybody, but what I can do is show you what I did, right? So what I
Mhm.
did was I created a 12 module lesson, really walking you through every step of modeling to content creation, to influencer work, to, entrepreneurship, to photography and lighting and posing, facial expressions. I cover it all. And I cover it in a way so that it's not just for models. So if you're an aspiring model, will it help you? Yes. The whole first section is for models. I talk about comp cards, talk about digitals. I talk about what you should wear to an agency meeting or an audition. I talk about how I book certain jobs, my strategies, how to get signed, how to be signed in different markets. I'm currently signed in 5 different markets. I talk about parts modeling and all that, right? And then I go
I
into
love how you just grazed over that. You like 5 different markets, but no big deal. But come on now.
thank you,
Come,
guys.
yes.
Yes. So I talk about that because when I was starting, I didn't even know you could do that, right? So I talk
Hmm.
about that. I talk about agency contracts, the kind of contracts I have. And then I talk about, okay, let's talk about ownership now. Let's talk about how to start a business. And I give them like business resources. I talk about my LLC, my trademark, everything I did to get started, where I actually buy my stuff from. Then I talk about how I actually brand it and market it. So marketing is like Facebook ads, and then branding will be like the pictures you see in the Facebook ads. So then I talk to them about the camera I use, the lights I use, all the equipment I use. I actually do like a live demo of me shooting a model and directing her. And then I do a live demo of me actually editing the model's images. And then I walk them through like posing. So I'm like behind a white screen. I have like um, a beauty dish and I'm showing them how I pose and I'm shooting myself in real time. I show them like facial expressions and I do like a facial expression exercise with them because it's really important that you can translate and emote emotions through your
Hmm.
eyes and through your face. Like if you're doing like a beauty campaign, you would need to show up a lot differently if you were like probably doing like hair or if you were doing like clothes. So I walk them through that process. And then the last part is all about like content creation, media kits, how to get brand deals and sponsorships, what your rate sheet should look like, what I do to get these sponsorships, the apps and the websites I use to get these sponsorships, how I actually reach out to a lot of these companies on my own, how I approach them. And then I talk about mindfulness. I end on with mindfulness because I'm like, I gave you guys so much information. I know you guys are overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I do to stay calm, to stay centered. This is a business where you can lose yourself. This is a business of uncertainty, of dysfunction sometimes. Being an artist, sometimes you're going to struggle. Sometimes you're going to starve. And I want to equip you guys with tools to keep you guys afloat. Read great books, listen to great speeches, and whether it's God or whether it's the universe, tap into something bigger than you so that you have an anchor. So I wanted to include that section because I know how difficult it is to navigate these industries and try to fit yourself into them. And, sometimes it's not that you can't do it. It's all about timing. And you just have to you have to run the race. You have to trust that it's coming. But in the meantime, life can kind of suck if you don't believe in something bigger than you. And
Hmm.
I wanted to
Hmm.
really like also give them that component so that they know that, yeah, I'm good and I'm talented, but I matter. And life is about more than just achievements and goals. And I want people to figure out the importance of like balancing the mind, the body, and the soul. You know,
Yes.
great, the career is great, but you need a personal life. You need hobbies. You need love. You need people. You need friends. So I definitely like put emphasis on those things as well. So I talk about everything that I do, and then I end with what I do to keep myself centered.
Well, honey, since you went there, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go there too because I told you I was gonna go ahead and throw you a little monkey wrench, girl. Well, since you brought it up about personal life, okay,
Okay.
how difficult is it for you to sustain a personal life at this point of your career? Because when you first started, no one knew who you were. But
Right.
now it's, yo, that's Raelia. That's Raelia Lewis. That's Raelia. Oh.
Yeah.
So how is it maintaining a relationship now?
It's not hard at all. I've been with the same guys for probably 6 years now. He's really successful, really popping. I'm trying to be like him. He doing his thing. So I ain't messing with nobody that's like under me. He makes a lot of money, more money than me. He's really
Mhm.
successful. So we get each other. We're entrepreneurs. I have someone who is a part of an industry, and he's not a model, but he runs a business, so he knows what it's like to bet on yourself and build something, take an idea and turn it into an actual thing. So it's not hard at all. Like, people recognize me, they notice me. I always have a bunch of questions about how can I get my daughter started, or I think I struggle more in friendship, to be honest.
Really?
Because models, girls hit me up. They like the idea of me, or they're like looking to like plug into what I'm doing. And it just always comes to the surface. Or I deal with like the frenemy thing where like they like me, but like we do the same thing and like they're a little jealous. I deal with that more than I deal with like issues of surrounding my career and my personal relationship. So I'm definitely always leery to like bring a new woman into my life. Because I'm the kind of friend and the kind of model that if you hit me up, you're like, hey girl, let's hang, and you seem cool, I hang, right? And then like you tell me your issues, and I'm like calling my agent, like, hey, I met this pretty girl, you should meet her, and I'm getting you a contract and shit. And then like a few weeks later, you shitting on me.
Yeah,
and then
no.
You're not compete with me. So I had to like take a step back. I had to like reevaluate. A little too nice. I always was the model that would give girls like, oh, Kanye West is looking for models, you should go. I still write girls. Like, someone looking for a job and they know, like, I'm not going to do their job because it's not paying enough. I know a girl in Philly that I follow. I follow all, like, models.
I'm sorry, but y'all just missed that. She's like, I'm sorry, how much is that pant? No, baby, we don't work for that anymore.
I paid my dues.
And you know what? My sister owns her own production company out in New York. She also writes, and she's an actress as well. And I remember we were talking, and she said, "Oh no, I don't work for free anymore."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh." She was like, she was like, it could be a great gig, but I don't do free. She was like, no, because that part of my career is already done.
Done.
So y'all will catch that later, meaning she's paid her dues already. Okay.
Yeah, so I have like a minimum that I require before I even leave my house now. And I think that's a part of self-love too. I really think it's a part of like self-love. Like, I deserve great things. I work hard. I don't want to waste my time with projects that do not serve me or that do not make me feel like I'm operating at my highest level, right? Mm-hmm. So there are younger girls in Philly that I follow that are models that may not be signed yet, but I see their potential and I throw them the bone. Here's a great job. They get paid. I don't want to cut.
I love that.
I want money, go ahead. And I do it all the time. And I even hire some of these girls and I pay them to model for my brand as well. So because I'm that kind of person, I take things personally when people try to like do things to me. Because you don't have to do things to me, because I'm not trying to take your bag, your job, your man, nothing. You ain't got to do things to me.
You don't have to, darling.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to like be friends and stuff. Like, let's play nice. So when we can't play nice, I decide to like,
I'll give you this one, if I may give you this one snippet of advice. Matter of fact, just like I said, I by day work as a flight attendant. Yesterday, I met a talent director, and mind you, I had no idea who this lady was. I treat everybody the exact same. And I tell everybody, honey, this is my personality, baby. If you don't like it, that's absolutely fine. There are a whole lot of other people that will. Okay. Yeah. And so we're on the plane and she ends up coming to the back and we just started talking. Come to find out, we knew a lot of the same people. And she looks at me and she goes, wait, how do you know this person? How do you know that person? I said, oh, I met this person back in such and such. Oh, I met this person back in such and such. So we keep talking. And then we ended up exchanging phone numbers. This was yesterday. Fast forward today, I'm on my way back here. I just had gotten to Atlanta. You saw me trying to run and get set up. And the singer, Tony Terry, the guy who made the song When I'm With You, that song, he was on the flight. I had no idea who he was until he actually said it. And then I still didn't know who he was. I was just talking to him. I'm like, oh, you want a free drink? Here you go. One thing I've learned is that you have to protect the people that you have in your circle, your network of people. You have to be very selective of who you let in. And that's simply because some people only want to be attached to you because they want to get to who you know. Yes. And it's like with my business mentor. yesterday, my business mentor and I, we're going to meet up with each other. And I'm going back and forth, and I left my phone out, and somebody nosy, the girl I'm working with, she was just like, so who is your business mentor? Why?
Right.
And she wanted to know. And I said, honestly, that's not something I feel very comfortable sharing. But I do have a business mentor. He's like my coach, he's like my brother. And she was like, I'm just going to hang out in the lobby. And so instead, I was just like, okay. In my mind, I'm like, baby, you have no idea how I will go to the end of the earth to protect my circle. Honey, I will walk down the street so that you do not bomb rush this man's car and go, oh my God. No, because don't nobody want that. So I learned you have to be so selective with the people that you let in because everybody that smiles in your face does not
Mm-hmm.
mean you any good. During the time when I was going through what I was going through, I was prescribed medicine that I never took. I can say it now, child, a lawsuit over. But I was prescribed medicine that I never took. They were class 2 narcotics, and I never took them. However, I had someone during that time, she decided that she was going to talk all this smack about me. And here I am. I have a friend of mine, well, at least I thought she was a friend of mine, that was coming back telling me, oh, you know, such and such said this about you. Oh, you know, such and such said this about you. And it took for me to talk to my grandma. I always say my grandma is one of the wisest people that you will ever meet. My grandma said, baby, let me ask you a question. Why that woman felt so comfortable
Mm-hmm.
coming to talk about you to the other woman. She said,
Yeah.
baby, a dog that bring a bone, a carry one. And as
Mm.
I sat there and I listened to her, I'm like, wow. So your heart is so pure. You
Thank
want to
you.
help. You
Yes.
want to help. But let me tell you something. Everybody ain't trying to help you back, and
Yeah.
everybody ain't trying. Some people are just going to come leech off you and then move on. I got a
Yeah.
girl a job at Mac. I asked her, can you use your discount to get me something? I'll give you the money. Oh, I can't do that. You need to pay full price.
Mm-hmm.
One that knew I'm the one that knew the manager to
Yep.
get you in. I
Yep.
knew the manager. They didn't even interview you. They just hired you. Like,
Yep. Get real
it's like,
cute.
are you serious?
Mm-hmm. I done been
So
through it all.
yes. So, girl, I mean, but how can people reach you and what is the best way for us to support you? How can they reach you and what is the best way
Yes.
for them to support
So
you?
you can reach me on social media. My Instagram is at Raelia Lewis, at first name Raelia, last name Lewis. Also via email, Raelia.lewis@gmail.com. Facebook, Raelia Lewis. I think TikTok is like Raelia_Lewis. Like I just stay on brand so that I'm really easy to find. As far as my businesses, waveswimofficial.com. The Instagram is at waveswimofficial. At shop_accessorized for my accessory line is really bomb, y'all. That's at shop_accessorized. The website is shopaccessorized.com. We're also on Pinterest and Instagram as well, and Facebook as well. Yeah, so if you want to reach me personally, those are the best ways to reach me. If you want to support, you can definitely do that. My brands are affordable, they're dope. But even if you just want to share them, maybe you don't want to buy anything, just want to share them, that's support as well. As far as my masterclass, that page is called Growing with Raelia. The link is in my bio. I have a link tree where you can actually sign up for the masterclass. It is not a live presentation or masterclass. Everything is pre-recorded. You can watch it and complete it at your own pace. It's already available for you. So if you buy it right now, it is available for you. It's currently 50% off, which means that it's $200 with the discount code SUMMER, SUMMER, SUMMER. That's the best way to reach me as far as model coaching. The page is Growing with Raelia. And that's also in my bio. So everything is in my bio. All of my brands, everything that I do, my books, my masterclass, everything. So you can find me there.
So what she just told y'all is that this is not a mogul in the making, but baby, this is a whole mogul. Okay. And I
Awesome.
have so many of her accessories from Shop
Yes,
Accessorized. I
you gave
remember
me so much great feedback. I love the video. I thought that was so kind and so sweet. I take care of those who take care of me. So you are a friend to me. Thank
thank
you for
you. Oh
supporting
my
me.
God, that was like a year ago, and you remember that?
Yes, I do. That's when you
Oh
first
my
stood out to
God.
me. That's when you
Yes,
first stood out to me. That day when you did
yes.
that video. You did not have to do that.
Yes, honey,
And I
because
forgive
honestly, I love your stuff. And on top of that, your stuff hasn't turned yet.
you. Period.
Yes, and that was like over a year ago. My
Thank
cousin
you.
actually took the snake ring with the green eyes though. She took that.
Right.
So now I got to get me some more stuff. But you done added so much stuff to the collection, honey. So I got to
Yes.
go in. And I
Yeah.
told you because of my tardiness, I will be going on to place the order today to apologize. So because of my
Whatever.
tardiness. But
It is fine.
Raelia, it has been such a pleasure having you come on here, share your time, share your heart. I really do appreciate this. And
Of
I'm pretty sure
course.
all of the listeners, all of the viewers are going to absolutely love this interview. Thank you so much. And
Thank
Regina,
you.
you know what I always say, get us out of here, girl.